Wojciechowski. She is a clinical nutritionist based in Costa Mesa, California, and she takes a 100% holistic yet scientific approach when working with her clients. From nutrition to skincare to lifestyle and stress, Carrie helps her clients identify the dysfunctional systems and organs in their bodies. She then coaches them through the process of healing and balancing their bodies with whole food and sustainable nutrition. The name of her company is Path to Health OC, so you could look at pathtohealthoc.com. All right, and also Carrie also will go by Carrie Wojo to make her last name a little easier for us. So thank you so much for being here today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. I would love to know, how did you get into becoming a clinical nutritionist?
Yeah, so I've been in business for 8 years, like you said, and let's go back 13 years. I was having a lot of pain, hip pain, back pain, muscle spasms, leg pain, where I felt like my legs were going to explode literally, and muscle pain that just wouldn't quit. And I'm a dancer and I couldn't dance. I would get there and my muscles would tighten up and I'd have to go home within 20 minutes. And it was just really discouraging, really depressing. And my doctors weren't really being able to identify anything, or, they were giving me meds and they were eating up my stomach. And I had digestion issues and chronic fatigue. And then I got pre-diabetes with my second son. And I was just like, I am too young for this. This doesn't make sense. Like, what is going on? And so thank you, God, I met a nutritionist through my chiropractor that I was seeing for all of my pain. And she kind of showed me the way. She was like, I get it. Let's, and so she introduced me to the school that I ended up at, which was Southern California University of Health Sciences. And that's an acupuncture, chiropractic, and clinical nutrition school. And so I just learned through the process of being my own guinea pig and through school that my liver hated me. My blood sugar was horribly out of whack from all of the crap that I'd eaten for years and years and years. And, I thought I was skinny, so I was healthy. And I just learned that was a horrible, horrible misunderstanding of the human body. And so that's, it took me about a year and a half to get completely well, but all of my back pain, all of my digestion issues, I lost 30 pounds, all my energy came back, and I sleep better than I used to. And I can play with my kids and I can dance. I teach dancing 5 days a week now. And that's my why, because I know what it feels like to feel like your life is over. Like, life sucks. I'm depressed. I'm tired. I don't sleep well. I'm discouraged. Like, nothing's ever going to get better. I felt hopeless. That's a huge thing for me, is I want to give people hope that they can get better, that they can feel better and have a better quality of life.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. How old were you when you started having the issues?
Well, I actually had a lot of issues when I was a teenager. I just didn't realize that it meant anything. I was horribly constipated as far back as I can remember, like 4 or 5 days of not having a bowel movement.
Oh my goodness.
I was. My parents didn't even know. Like, to this day, my mom feels horribly guilty that she never knew, because she's like, I would have done something if I had known. In 8th grade, I remember falling asleep at my desk after lunch because I was and I liked my teacher. He thought I didn't like him. And I'm like, no, you're not boring. I just cannot keep my eyes open. And so looking back, my blood sugar was not healthy or balanced back then either. But I think it really all fell apart when I had my first son when I was 21. My body changed. I mean, I ate like crap because I didn't know any better while I was pregnant. I had horrible labor and delivery, horrible recovery, and my knees were never the same, and my digestion just got even worse. My periods got way worse, where I couldn't go out of the house on my period because I would bleed through within 45 minutes. Super plus tampon. Sorry, TMI, but it's, it was horrific, at 21 years old, to be like, oh my gosh, my body is just like the enemy, kind of.
Yeah.
And it just kept getting worse and worse. And then finally I was a logistics coordinator for this company, and it was kind of a stressful job, and I was sitting all the time. And I remember one day I was, sitting over typing on my computer, and I went to stand up and I froze because I couldn't move. There was something going on in my lower back, and I couldn't sit up straight without this excruciating pain. And I had to have my husband come pick me up and take me to my chiropractor or my acupuncturist or something. And And that was kind of the catalyst. I was like, I am done. I came to a head when I was like 25, and I'm 38 now. And I was like, I can't. I have to do something. I know that I have to take charge because my doctor, bless them for trying, but I just wasn't getting anywhere. And so I was like, my mom has fibromyalgia, my dad has diabetes. There has to be a connection.
Yeah, definitely. I agree that food makes a huge difference. So did you grow up not eating very healthy then?
I ate my dad was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 9.
Okay.
Uh, blood sugar should be like 100 to 130 after you eat. His was 700. And he didn't even feel bad, or he just all of a sudden just like dropped to the floor. The ambulance came, they told him you
Oh my goodness.
but he never changed his diet. And we grew up in he was a social worker, so he didn't have a lot of money. And so it was like, go buy the largest can of this and the largest can of this. And so it wasn't good quality food. But it wasn't just bad quality food. It was like insane amounts of junk food.
Okay.
Corn and cheese corn and sugary cereals for breakfast and corn nuts and nacho cheese in number 10 cans with tortilla chips and spaghetti. When I was in high school, I ate spaghetti or rice with soy sauce for breakfast because it was quick and easy and I liked it. And my parents were divorced, so my dad wasn't making us breakfast. That's what I had or macaroni and cheese. I mean, I just ate, Taco Bell burritos for breakfast or Del Taco for lunch and macho nachos or chili cheese fries. Like I don't know. Some people.
I understand, because when we were growing up, I remember having, sugary cereal and a bowl of sugar in the middle, and we would add more sugar to the sugary cereal and milk. That was breakfast.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane.
I feel like I started in high school paying attention to nutrition and caring about what I was eating on my own. And so, because I didn't grow up being taught how to eat well either, and I think that's common.
Yeah.
And, my family was poor too. And so, yeah, we buy the cheapest, grossest stuff to eat, I understand. Yeah. But it's funny that we don't put two and two together and make, in our head, understand that's why our body isn't working right.
Yeah.
We go to the doctor and everybody wants a pill. Just give me a pill to make me better.
Right. There's such a disconnect between food and how it makes us feel. It's really interesting. And something else that I think is interesting that even parents that I see in my office, I'll go, okay, this thing that you're eating, you can't eat that. And this is why, right? And they'll go, oh, okay, I'll just give it to my kids. And I'm like,
yeah.
Hey.
Because they think that they're skinny, they can eat whatever they want. That is such a common sentimentality that I even hear my husband say that to my son. And I'll be like, no, because internally you don't know what their body is, how healthy they really are based off what they're eating just because they're skinny, and they look healthy.
Right. And people, I don't know where I heard this, but something that really resonated with me a long time ago that made me think about my parents, and then I share with my clients now, is think about it. If you're a mom and you're carrying a baby in utero and you're responsible for feeding them for 9 months, if you're deficient in calcium, then they're going to be deficient in calcium. If you're deficient in iodine and B vitamins and vitamin D there are so many. So not only is the baby going to be deficient because you don't have enough to give in the first place, that leaves mom even more deficient.
Right, because the baby probably gets everything before the mom gets
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And so, I always tell people, like, you are a product of your parents. I have so many people that their grandma has thyroid issues and the mom has thyroid issues and the daughter, and the thyroid issues become an issue younger and younger each generation. And I'm like, well, that makes sense, right? Because the deficiency is getting worse and worse and worse. So it's going to manifest sooner. So,
and another thing that I don't think people think about, or that I may not have even thought about, before you even get pregnant, you should be working on having your body healthy and eating very healthy.
Yeah.
And the same, and not just for the woman, for the man too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I remember when I was 20 and pregnant, I was so ignorant. I was ignorant and I was 20. I was cocky or whatever. And I'm like, I can eat whatever I want. I'm pregnant. I'm eating for two. And I gained 35 pounds. I was not happy with my body. I got all these stretch marks. And with my second pregnancy, I knew a lot more. They're 6.5 years apart. And I gained 21 pounds with my second pregnancy. And people couldn't even tell I was pregnant from the back. And I even now I'm like, I wish I could go back and do it over because I know so much more now. Like prenatals are not all they're cracked up to be. A lot of vitamins aren't, a lot of supplements aren't. So I think, yeah, I have a couple of one that had been working with me for a while and now she's pregnant. And I have another 32-year-old right now that's like, she has Crohn's and, you know, all these things. And she's like, I need to be as healthy as I possibly can.
That's good.
Bring a little baby into the world.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So tell me a little bit when you were studying to become a clinical nutritionist, what kind of classes do you take and how much time is involved in that?
Yeah. So it was really interesting. I always say like my favorite, it's not even a subject, but my favorite like system in the body is the liver and the gallbladder. I think we probably spent like 6 weeks daily talking about the liver and the gallbladder. I just find the liver and the gallbladder fascinating, especially because that was one of my major issues was I had liver and gallbladder issues. So it's a lot of, you know, physiology, biology, but just a lot of like, people like to overcomplicate nutrition. And what I loved about my classes was that it didn't. It was just like, look, if you have adrenal fatigue, and here's what causes it, A, B, C, D, E, there's lots of things that can cause it. These are the things that you're deficient in. These minerals, these B vitamins, this vitamin C, you need, you know, and you need to do A, B, and C as far as, you know, making sure you're getting enough sleep, not eating sugar, because sugar not only raises insulin, but it raises cortisol. And cortisol is made by the adrenals. Everybody thinks of it as the fat hormone, but it's not. It's a stress hormone. And if you're making it all the time, your body is releasing glucose into your bloodstream constantly. And that's why you can't lose weight. It's not because cortisol is bad. It's because you don't give your body what it needs to stay balanced. So that's kind of the practical applications stuff that I just loved. Like it just made so much sense to me. And as I learned about each system and each organ, it all started to make sense, like how they're all connected. You know, the thyroid is affected by negatively or positively affected by the adrenals and the pituitary gland and the ovaries and all of that stuff. And how it's so relatively easy to, you know, A, make small changes, but B, you know, eat the things that crowd out all the crap.
Okay.
That we love to eat, you know? So I loved it because it had a lot of, I don't want to say like mindset stuff where it's like, you know, be the change kind of thing. It's not that, you know, yogi kind of stuff, but it was just like, you have to break the cycle, not just physically, but mentally, you know, you have to, and for me, I mean, I can regurgitate that stuff really well because I get it. I understand how hard it is to make changes. And how easy it is to feel discouraged and all of that. So one of the things that I do because of all the, you know, I went to this school before I went to SCUHS. It was a health coach school and it was okay. It was kind of like getting my toes, you know, dipping my toes in and learning things about what it means to be vegan and, you know, how basic digestion works. But when I was done, it took me a year to get through it. And when I was done, I was like, yeah, I don't feel like I could help anybody right now. I need more, you know, like I could, if somebody wanted to be a vegan, I could show them how to be a vegan, but I was like, but that's not what I want to do. I want to teach people how to like self-evaluate themselves. Like I'll evaluate you first. And as we go throughout this process, I want you to be able to evaluate yourself so that you can go, oh, I remember that means that my blood sugar is off. I need to eat more green beans or eat more romaine lettuce or go take my digestive tea or eat a spoonful of raw honey to get back in balance. Like I want people to have a toolbox of things they can pull from to get healthy. So all that to say, I loved my classes. I looked forward to it. I mean, my classes and my job, I just loved, and I continue to learn. It's cool. It's not required, because I'm not a registered dietitian. I went, the non-hospital route, but I do it because I think there's so much to learn. There's always new things coming out, and, not everybody agrees, but it's still good to kind of know what's out there and what people are talking about. And
Yeah, right. Everything's always changing and evolving, and you learn more from studies. And yeah, I feel like it's a lifelong, our lives are learning all the time. Maybe some people aren't as into it, but I mean, in reality, I feel like, that's the way of life, is you're
yeah.
learning new things. So how long did it take you? How long was this program?
My clinical nutrition license was 3 years.
Okay, so it's really in depth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then how does that vary? You said I didn't go the hospital route. So what is the difference?
So a registered dietitian, you do 4 years of like your bachelor's degree, but then you have to do, I forget now, a year or two of being an intern at a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, I actually was going to Saddleback College, thinking that I wanted to be a registered dietitian. And because I'd always been interested in I did the whole fat-free thing back in the 90s, and I was always counting calories, and I just thought it was kind of fascinating. And so I thought I wanted to be a registered dietitian, but the more classes I took, it was like, here's how to put people on dialysis, and here's how much metformin you give people when they have blood sugar issues, and here's what you do when people have buggy eyes because they have thyroid issues. And I was like, gosh, this is not what I want. And so, and then I had a couple of friends. I'm sure some love working with doctors, but then I had a couple of friends that were RDs, and they said, I really wish that I could work on my own, because, when you're being told what to do by a doctor rather than just kind of having a little more freedom to
Mm-hmm.
go that route. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want. So I'm self-employed, right? I don't work for anybody. I have referral partners and things, but I don't work in the medical system. So I'm not working at a hospital. I never could or would. So it just gives me a lot more freedom, flexibility,
Mm-hmm.
and the ability, I feel like, to really, really, really make a change in people's diets and the way that they think about food.
Do you think that this was a more in-depth program, and it went over more how nutrition affects the body more than maybe the registered dietitian? It sounds that way.
From the classes that I took, yes, I think so. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. The clinical nutrition path clicked with me right away. I was excited from day one. So yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. In this program, did they go over like supplements and I don't know, like alternative treatments and things like that?
Yeah. I learned a lot of different modalities of healing. So there's essential oils, there's supplements, there's herbs. What else? There's fermented foods, a bunch of different categories. So the thing that I like essential oils. I'm not big on them. It's just not my thing. Like, I just didn't click with it as much, but I do like them. But as far as vitamins and supplements, that was kind of the thing that I clicked with, because before I started going to school, I had done my own research, and I'm like, gosh, why does it seem like, well, I knew that the FDA did not regulate supplements. And I was like, well, that kind of sucks in a way, because then people can just say, hey, this, and this is in there, but you don't know if it actually is. But then I thought, well, but then it allows people the freedom to, make a good product and not have it overregulated. But anyway, up until that point, I had not been able to find a supplement company that I liked. And because of school, I found a couple that I really, really do like. But I also, there's always new companies coming out. So they taught us how to read labels, how to read a vitamin label, how to know if it's synthetic, how to know if it's fortified to death with, synthetics, if it's partly good, partly not, like what, soybean oil, avoid corn oil, avoid, what else? Magnesium stearate. Like, there's all of these little, petroleum derivatives and things that people don't realize are in their vitamins, and they're really, really not good. Like titanium dioxide is horrible. Silicone dioxide. There's all these fillers and things that actually can be really, it gunks up the works, gunks up your liver.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, A for effort for taking these vitamins, but we got to get you on good ones. We have to. It's worth the money, even
Absolutely.
if take way less, I don't care. It's more important to make sure that you're taking a good quality one that you actually need. And that's the other thing. People are like, oh, my neighbor told me that magnesium is good for this, so I started taking that too. And they have like digestion issues because of that, or they're taking this and they're like, it's not really doing anything. And I'm like, yes, because everybody's different. Everybody's needs are different. Everybody's stress level is different. Everybody's, dietary habits are different. So you cannot take the same supplements and expect the same reaction. So I think and even if you do start taking a good supplement, 3 months later, you might need to change it up because your body's changed. If you've had more stress, less stress, you've been traveling and now your digestion's a little upset, you have to be willing to change things up. And then it can be a little bit of a mental block for people because they're like, oh, it takes so much work to figure out what I should be doing, or I just want to be on autopilot. I just want to take my one a day for the rest of my life and that's it. And it's like, well, okay. Some people can do that and live to be a healthy 97-year-old, and that's awesome. But the unlucky ones are the ones that I end up seeing, and they're the ones that are confused with like 27 supplements. And I'm like, let's just simplify this. Like, that's huge. You don't want to, you want something sustainable.
Yeah. Are you wanting vitamins that are made from whole foods?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a big, holistic to me, that includes vitamins. They need to be no heat processed. They need to be, not have all the synthetic crap and added to them, but they need to come from good soil. There are, documentaries out there that talk about how the soil depletion and erosion, and it's just the vitamins and minerals are not abundant in our soil the way they used to be. And so, even if, there's a company down in San Marcos that makes a supplement and they have 47 peer-reviewed articles, and it's like, okay, maybe, it's not regulated by anybody. So I don't know, honestly, unless I know, I don't know. I always tell people vitamins are hard. It's tough. If you feel like it's helping and there's nothing bad in it, then awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot familiarize myself with the 40 million different, supplement makers in the world.
So what kind of diet did you change to then when you helped your body heal?
So it was a very slow process for me. Food was very emotional, and comfort, and I don't know. I lived to eat. I loved eating. And that's how my dad was too. So I remember people were like, you're eating that and you're a nutritionist, a long time ago. And I was like, hey, change takes time. And anyway, so what I first realized, one, I tried to give up sugar. That was like number one. But then the second thing I realized was that I was gluten intolerant. My intestines, I'd always had digestion issues. And then I realized every time I ate meat, my intestines would burn for like 3 days. And so
when you ate meat, is that what you said?
Wheat.
Okay.
Yeah. And I loved bread. I ate it 3 times a day. I loved bread. And, but it made my intestines burn for 3 days. And I gave it up and it went away. And my skin, I had these weird bumps on my arms and that cleared up. And I was like, all right, I'm giving it up, I guess. And then I found out that I was lactose intolerant. And then I figured out that I was chicken intolerant. And people always go, what? And I ate chicken twice a day, every day. And then I realized that it was really constipating to me. And so I gave that up. And then I figured out that peanuts and peanut butter were no good for me. And now I can't eat corn, and now I can't eat bananas. So the thing that I always tell people is you have to be willing to give up the things that make you sick, that make you tired, that make your stomach hurt, that make you feel lethargic, that, cause you not to sleep well, that cause you pain. Some people, they love their wine and it causes them pain. And they know that it causes them pain and they're like, nope, not giving it up. and they're like on disability and they won't give it up. Okay, that's your choice, at least. And so that was the thing. I even knowing a long time ago that sugar made me really tired and kind of depressed, I couldn't give it up right away. I still ate it, but I finally got to that pain point where I was like, I want to, I want my life back. I want my energy back. I want to feel like a young, thriving 20-something-year-old. And so now, and I've even taken it a step further. Now I realize I can't eat pork or beef. So I eat fish, and occasionally, nobody judge me, occasionally I eat lamb because it digests really well for me. So I kind of lean vegetarian. I don't eat fish or lamb every day. Sometimes I go meatless, and I feel really good that way. I eat a ton of veggies. I've had to broaden my horizons, and that's what I always tell people. Don't be scared of giving something up. It's an opportunity to try something new. Get some new recipes. I'll give you recipes. It's kind of fun once you accept it and embrace it and just go, this is going to be my new normal. Mm-hmm. Don't, and you're just on a diet, then you're always, I have clients that say, I've lost and gained 1,000 pounds over my lifetime because they try to do the, paleo or Atkins or the South Beach diet or whatever. And it doesn't work long-term,
Yeah.
So I only drink water, and I used to only drink like 2 cups of water every day and go, why does my stomach hurt? Why do I not go to the bathroom every day? And now I'm like, yeah, you got to drink water, and I heard this guy say, when I hear people say, I don't like water, it's like, be a freaking adult and drink water. I don't know. So I try to give people, add some fruit juice to your water, or add some raw honey and some apple cider vinegar and some lemon, make it into whatever you got to do. Well, not whatever, no Mio, no Crystal Light, none of that. But, there's no substitute for water, So, and the other thing that I really love, and my 16-year-old loves too, is raw cow's milk. And people look at me and go, you can get that in California? Yeah, you can get it at Sprouts. It comes in a big gallon. It's expensive. It's like $15 a gallon because the demand is not there and they have to stay in business. But I can drink that no problem, and I feel amazing. And the vitamin and mineral content is so much higher because it hasn't been pasteurized and heated up. So I eat.
It's different.
Everybody asks me that. I don't think so. I used to be a skim milk drinker, so it definitely, if you're used to skim and you go to like whole raw cow's milk, then it would be a little different. But it's not weird tasting. It tastes like milk.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people say like no dairy, dairy's bad, or meat's bad, and I'm like, stop demonizing food groups. It's not like that. Red meat does not cause gout. Everybody thinks that it causes gout. If it's crappy, industrialized, hormone-laden beef, but then there's a good chance that it's contributing to inflammation. But beef in and of itself is not bad for you unless your body specifically can't handle it, like mine can't.
Do you do blood work, and do you do tests that go over what your body is allergic to?
So I could order blood work, but I'm not a doctor, so it's ridiculously expensive. So I have a lot of doctors that are very willing to work with me. Like if I just go, hey, this is what I'd like to see, they do it. It's awesome. And then my clients just bring it in and give me their blood work. So I'll have them do it like every 3 to 6 months if the doctor's willing. So I do know how to read it. I love blood work, but sometimes it doesn't say a whole lot. Like cholesterol is fine, liver enzymes are fine, blood sugar is fine. And then that's when we have to kind of go through their symptoms and stress and things with a more fine-tooth comb. But I'm sorry, you said blood work and, food allergies.
Yes.
So again, I don't order that blood work or that, it's blood work. But I do like to have people do that. A lot of time they'll come in with it on their own. I also do in-office non-invasive mineral testing for iodine, calcium, and zinc. Mm-hmm. That can be really helpful because a lot of the time blood work will say that blood calcium levels are fine, but they're having cramps and they're having hormonal issues, or they're chronically sick. And calcium is big for hormones and muscles and bones and immune system. So, I always teach people, like, there's all different forms of calcium. And the kind that you get at Costco or at Target or CVS or whatever it's crap. It's synthetic, it's hard, rock hard, insoluble, like limestone. And it takes so much acid, stomach acid, to break down that it can actually make stomach issues like acid reflux issues worse. And it can also lead to kidney stones and arthritis, because that calcium just can't be broken down. So there's good calcium and there's bad calcium, and there's like a little bit better calcium, there's different levels of calcium.
What is a good calcium?
What is a good calcium?
Yes.
Calcium lactate is my favorite. It's a little hard to find. So calcium citrate is my second favorite. You can get that at like Mother's, or a lot of the problem that I have with calcium supplements with people is that calcium typically comes with magnesium, and calcium has to be a 5-to-1 ratio to magnesium, meaning, if it's 100 milligrams of calcium, it needs to be 20 milligrams of magnesium. And typically the magnesium count is higher than the calcium in supplements.
Oh.
Those levels are off, they're out of balance. And if they have and your body can only absorb 500 milligrams of calcium at one time. And a lot of people are taking 1,000, 1,500 all at once because they're like, I just want to be, pop my pill and not worry about it. And I'm like, sorry, that's not how it works. You have to do 500. If you need 1,500 a day, you got to do 500, 500, 500. And you got to make sure that your ratio on your supplement is good, or just take them separate, So yeah, so it's, there's a lot to know. It doesn't have to be as complicated as some people make it, but there's things that, you won't know if you walk into Sprouts and just start checking out calcium supplements, because they all look good and they have all got high dose, calcium. And it's like, yeah, but high dose isn't necessarily what people need. They just need good quality calcium that they can use.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge.
What are good sources of calcium from food?
Well, milk is not one of them unless it's raw. I recommend raw, but not a lot of people want to spend the money, but I don't recommend pasteurized milk at all. I think it's kind of a broken food. It's pasteurized, it's homogenized, it's not a whole food anymore. So I recommend cooked spinach, not raw. Raw spinach is not good for you, but cooked spinach is good. Kale, almonds. If you can handle dairy and you can do like yogurt or cottage cheese, like the things that are a little more fermented or soured, those are good. So I'm trying to think, like beet leaves have kale in them. If you've bought, like a beet, they've got the long hot pink stem and the big green leaf. The stem and the leaf, I tell people to eat that. Throw it in your smoothie, throw it in a salad, saute it. It doesn't taste bad like kale. It's got calcium.
Okay. Good to know. And then what is your opinion about organic versus, not?
Yeah, good question. So I am not an everything needs to be organic person. I kind of follow the dirty dozen, which has now become the dirty 15. They've added 3 more. The things that are heavily sprayed need to be organic. And they're like berries, apples, celery, lettuces, what else? Peaches, grapes. Yes. Thank you. Grapes. So things like bananas, oranges, avocados, asparagus don't have to be. Brussels sprouts don't have to be. If people are going to eat corn, which I don't really recommend just in general, but if they don't seem to have a problem with it, then I definitely say organic, because corn has been highly genetically modified throughout the world. And if it's genetically modified, it can cause fibroids and tumors and all kinds of stuff that you don't want to deal with. So, So yeah, I don't think everything needs to be organic. Save your money.
Mm-hmm. All right. And if someone comes to you, or how many times would they generally see you? What would be like a first appointment?
Yeah. So the amount of times that someone sees me is completely up to them. I usually give them a kind of, an expectation, like these are your issues. Like if someone has fibromyalgia that they've had for like 10, 15 years, I go, okay, mentally you need to be prepared to commit to like 6 months. But if somebody's just like, I had a 26-year-old girl that had some digestion issues, and she literally saw me 2 or 3 times and she was gone. So if people eat fast food or just really, 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 really processed or sugary foods twice a day, every day, then a lot of the unlearning of the habits and building new habits and all of that can take time. So I always tell people, it's up to you, like how quickly you're willing to make the changes and how willing and able you are to be consistent will speed things up. But some things, like I said, if you've had your issues for years and years and years, don't think you're going to be out of here in a month. And I work with people as far as, you can only afford to see me every 3 weeks or every month. Okay, we'll be as effective with our time, and I'll give you a good to-do list, but don't come back in a month and go, yeah, I really didn't do anything, because it's just a waste of their time, their money, my time, So yeah, it really depends. I had a guy that I helped with rheumatoid arthritis and Sjogren's disease, both of which are autoimmune. And he was like me. He was like, when am I going to be better? And I would always go, give it time. We were constantly changing up his regimen. And at 10 months, his inflammation in his hands was gone, and he could go back and play beach volleyball. And he was like 59. He wasn't young, but he was sleeping through the night. He was going to the bathroom every day, and his energy was back. And so I was like, 10 months. I mean, was it worth it? So it really does depend. I have packages that I give people the option to buy if they want, or they can pay as they go. But so the first appointment is 90 minutes, and every follow-up appointment is about 45 minutes to an hour. But in the first appointment, that's the information gathering. I have them fill out all of these intake forms that they print from my website, and they bring them in filled out, and I just ask all the questions that I have. Clarify this. What about this? What about this? And then I just kind of prepare them mentally and go, okay, this is what we're doing. You have to communicate with me. Let me know what you're doing. If you have any questions, concerns. And then this is your game plan. This is your starting game plan. It's not going to be the game plan the entire time. Your body's going to change, and we'll change with it. But I typically try to give them, especially people that don't drink enough liquids, I try to give them a lot of different kinds of, flavored liquids, a smoothie, a digestive tea recipe, aloe, lemon juice, whatever, just to get them drinking more water or liquids. But it literally, all those things that I just listed are good for blood sugar and reducing cortisol and getting the liver kind of flowing, and the kidneys, and digestion is being improved. So I like to try to cover as many bases as possible in the simplest way, especially in the beginning, just to kind of get things working so that they see some improvement. So now they're like, awesome. What else? So that they don't get discouraged and just give up.
Mm-hmm. I have a question regarding the liver, because that's your cleansing organ, or the most important one. And so everybody needs to have like a healthy functioning liver. So what are the best things for that? Of course, eating very well, but
yeah, so not burdening the liver further by eating a bunch of junk, but things that are really good for the liver are celery. Celery gets such a bad rap as being like nutrient devoid, and it's not true. The celery is so good for the liver. What else? Beets, organic beets, not raw. I occasionally I'll drink a raw beet juice, but that's few and far between, because beets have the same issue as spinach. They have oxalic acid, and it can cause kidney stones. But beets are extremely good for the liver. So beets, beet leaves, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, kale, lemon. So lemon water, or lemon in your water. Sleep. So crazy. I even notice, like, on nights that I don't sleep so well, like if I have a lot of stress and I wake up, stressed out, I can feel the difference in my digestion and the way I digest fat the next day. Your liver was designed, or your body was designed to have your liver do a little mini detox every night when you sleep. And that's how it's able to keep up with all the jobs that it has. Because it's not just the cleansing organ, it also makes melatonin, or helps your body make melatonin. It also makes histamine and antihistamine. So if you have horrible allergies, you probably have a liver issue, and it's just not showing up on blood work. It also makes melanin, which is your skin pigment. So I've had people with both melasma, which is the brown spots, kind of like liver spots, but to the extreme, or vitiligo, which is when their skin gets those white patches, they no longer have melanin. And I've had both get rid of the liver spots and the melasma, or have the color come back when we take care of their liver. So enough water. It's so cliche, and people are like, yeah, I know I need to drink more water, but I'm not going to. And it's like, well, there's so much that we can do nutritionally if the foundation of water is lacking, because
that helps your body filter everything out.
Exactly. It flushes your liver, your kidneys. It helps boost your adrenal glands so that you can handle stress and balance hormones. It's good for digestion. It's huge. So, one thing that I have people do a lot is celery juice. And if people are, ambitious and want to juice their own celery, awesome. But I buy a brand called Suja, Suja. You can buy it at Costco or Trader Joe's. Sprouts has Suja juices, but not plain celery juice, which is what I recommend. So Trader Joe's or Costco, and it's like 2 to 4 ounces a day. It doesn't have to be a lot. I drink like a 10-ounce bottle because I like the taste of celery, but it's a bile stimulant, and that's what people don't realize is if you're constipated and you don't have the urge to go, if you just skip because you're like, oh, I guess I don't have to go, it's a bile problem. Your bile is thick and sludgy because of medications, not enough water, not enough sleep, all the junk we eat, the alcohol we drink, and it just makes our liver pissed. It makes it upset at us, where it's just like, I've given and I've given and I've given and I can't give anymore,
Okay.
So there's lots of things that you can do. A lot of people try to do cleanses, and I sometimes recommend that, but if you're extremely constipated, I don't, because it sometimes can make constipation worse.
Okay. So the Suja celery juice, is it like a fresh pressed juice that they sell at the store, or is it like in a container or something? Or
it's high pressure pasteurized, so it's not heated. It's just pressurized, so it's not as good as
fresh.
Yeah, absolutely not, but it is better than a lot of the celery juices that I've seen out there. So it's like good, better, best, what's more realistic? If you'll buy the Suja and you won't juice your own celery.
Right. Really interesting. Is it refrigerated, like fresh, or is it in like a package, I guess?
It's refrigerated. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. I don't think I've ever seen it. So I'll have to look for it.
Yeah. It's by like the kombucha and
okay.
Healthy drinks. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is time consuming to do fresh juices, but it's a good thing to do, but it is very time consuming and it's a lot of effort. Yeah.
And I still see benefits with it. So
yeah. All right. Is there anything we didn't touch on that you think is important?
Well, kind of along the same vein, which I think is important, is pineapple juice. So, with the whole sugar awareness and, oh no, I can't eat, I remember a long time ago, someone said to me, oh, my doctor says I'm pre-diabetic and I have to give up eating beets and red potatoes. And I knew her very well. And she ate waffles and pancakes and muffins and all these things for breakfast. And she's talking about giving up beets. And I'm like, why don't we focus on getting rid of the pancakes and the waffles, or like just do less? Like, beets are amazing. So anyway, all that to say, people feel the same way about juice, right? They're like, juice has so much sugar and you have to get the no sugar added, which I agree. And fresh is best and all that. But something that I've realized and that I've had my clients do too is apple juice and orange juice typically metabolize differently in the body in a less positive way than pineapple juice. And the reason, with all of my blood sugar issues before, I can be and because I don't eat it very often, I'm pretty sensitive to sugar. And when I eat or when I drink apple juice or orange juice, which never happens, I feel disgusting. I feel acidic. I get a headache. I just want to go lay down. But when I drink pineapple juice, it feels really good in my stomach, and I don't get that like energy dip, and I don't get a headache. And so I did some research, and I'm really into, because of all of my food sensitivities that I've discovered over the years, the blood type diet. And I'm a B blood type, and my blood type says no wheat and no corn and no chicken and no this and no that. And this is why. And it matched exactly what I was experiencing. And so anyway, my blood type says pineapple juice is amazing for your blood sugar. And I was like, what? How is that possible? And so I went and I tried it, and I tried a couple different brands. And the one that I settled on, because it made me feel so good, was Trader Joe's has these little yellow cans. They're like 6 ounces, and they come in these little yellow cans. And it doesn't say on it anywhere that it's pasteurized. It might be, but regardless, I tried them all, and it made my stomach feel so good. And I have my Crohn's patient drink pineapple juice and celery juice, and she's like, I feel amazing when I drink that stuff. It doesn't make me tired. It's not, making me crave sugar more. It's not affecting my sleep, not affecting my weight. And so with that, the whole blood type diet thing, every food, every carb is different in how it affects me versus how it affects you. I have a friend that just realized that she can't do like yogurt or cottage cheese. And I said, I can, but she can do bread and I can't. So it's, they're all carbs, they're all.
You're basing it on how it makes you feel. And as long as you're not having any negative side effects, like your stomach hurts or you get constipated or you're not breaking out and you feel good after having it, then it's probably fine for you to have it.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, the body changes. So like the wheat and the dairy and the corn and the peanut butter thing happened years ago, but just in the last year and a half, I had a lot of stress, high constant stress. And that's when I developed the intolerance to bananas and oatmeal and grapefruit. And I was like, what in the world? I was like, no, I love those things. And in eggs, I can't do egg yolks. And
if egg yolks bother you, have you tried like other eggs, like maybe quail eggs or things like that?
I have not. That's a really good point. I have not. I haven't ventured out because I don't know. I didn't think about it, or I'm just staying away because I like the way it makes me feel. But that's not a bad idea. I would definitely be open to that. But all that to say, your body is always changing. Like I'm a nutritionist and I still am not perfect. Stress still affects me like everybody else. It still affects my digestion. It affects my sleep. And it's just about, keep finding and keeping your balance and, being willing to make the changes and do the things, make the effort, to.
Yeah. And I would say just from my experience, I feel like my diet for losing weight is the biggest thing to help me lose weight because I exercise regularly and that doesn't do anything to make me lose weight.
Are you by chance an A or a B blood type?
I'm AB positive.
Okay. A blood types run into that a lot where they exercise and they can't lose weight. And that was actually my issue. I danced 30 hours a week and I could not lose an ounce. And as soon as I got my diet in order, I dropped 30 pounds in 3 months. And I've kept it off for 10 years. Even though I indulge a little here or there, I haven't gained it back. So it's all balance. It's not about living in a bubble. It's not about living in a bubble. It's just not doing the things that cause you damage and inflammation and all that. And, enjoying life and
I know that I'm a work in progress. I guess everybody is. And that's something I need to work on actually eat pretty healthy, but I could definitely get rid of more things in my diet.
Yeah. Well, and it's all about substitutes.
Mm-hmm.
I just made homemade chocolate ice cream the other day. I have an ice cream maker and I used raw cow's milk and coconut cream and raw honey and cocoa powder. And it's so good. And I'm obviously not eating like bowls and bowls at a time, but it's, it's just substitutions. I love RX bars. If you've never tried those, I recommend those to all my clients if they like chocolate or like they need snacky things. The dark chocolate and sea salt one is chewy and chocolatey and very, very satisfying. So
yeah, I think I have tried that in the past.
Yeah.
How can people get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to my website. That's probably the easiest way, unless they just want to call me. But my website is path2health.oc.com. And there's a contact section on there. They can call me, email me. I'm all over. I'm all over. I do a lot of things in Orange County, so I'm all over the internet. But yeah, they can call me. My phone number is 949-633-1332. So that's my cell phone, and people are welcome to call or email.
Good. And so you just do work regular hours, or now because of COVID, you do more online, I would assume, or
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on COVID-19 or things that people can do to help their immune system?
Yeah, that's actually really well said. My feeling is, they've said so many times that the people that are getting really, really sick from this have comorbidities, which means they have diabetes or they have high blood pressure or whatever. And that just says everything to me. If my dad has diabetes, he gets sick all the time. I don't get sick like ever anymore. So if sugar weakens your immune system. So one thing that people can do to boost their immune system is to cut out processed sugar, not fruit, not RX bars, not, if they can handle dairy, not that kind of stuff, but the processed, high fructose corn syrup and cane sugar and all that stuff. But then the other thing is take care of your adrenals. Your adrenals have a lot to do with keeping you healthy, but also helping you bounce back when you're sick. And that's B vitamins, vitamin C, and minerals. So that doesn't mean go to Costco and get B vitamins and vitamin C, but B vitamins are in, beef and eggs and asparagus and beans and bananas and all kinds of stuff. So cleaning up your diet is a great first place to start. One thing that people don't know is that soda pulls minerals from your bones and your tissues. Calcium is a natural pH balancer and soda is acidic. So the body's like self-defense mechanism is, let's pull calcium to try to help balance out all this acidity. And that's what causes osteoporosis, but it also causes calcium deficiency that leads to immune deficiency. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I hope that this will help people or kind of motivate people to take better care of their bodies. They only get one. And it, if you have a health issue, it doesn't mean you're stuck with it. And a lot of people think that is what it means. It's a life sentence. There's nothing they can do about it. And it's like, well, if that's what you believe, I can't change your mind. But if you are open to healing like I did, then I can absolutely help you or find someone else that you trust that can help you do that. Because I absolutely believe you can.
And then what is your opinion on vitamin C, taking vitamin C?
I don't like emergency or airborne. Anything that's really, really, really high dose, which those things are synthetic. A lot of the time vitamin C comes from corn and it won't say it on the label or on the ingredient label. But one thing that's really important to know is that ascorbic acid, if you look on a vitamin C label, it'll say vitamin C and then in parentheses as ascorbic acid. And ascorbic acid is just the antioxidant shell that protects all the other phytochemicals and the true vitamin C compound.
Uh-huh.
Right? So if you're getting a 5,000% of ascorbic acid, you're getting 5,000% of one antioxidant that might come from corn. Whereas if you get it from food, like supplements that come from rose hips or acerola cherry, or like Garden of Life has ones that have all kinds of fruits and veggies in them, it may be lower
milligrams
percentage of the RDA.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter because it's something that your body can actually use. So I'm way more in favor of, eat the food, and if you still need to supplement a little bit, just get one that's made from food.
Yeah, that makes sense. What life advice would you like to share?
Life advice. Well, I'm a big self-awareness person, a personal development and all of that. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand with nutrition. It's like never stop challenging yourself to be better. Because I think, and I've seen this in my parents and other people's parents, is as we get older, we just think, oh, well, I'm getting older, and of course I'm going to fall apart. Of course I'm going to become less, I'm just going to sit in my chair and just kind of, and it's like, why would you want to do that? And so to me, it's just a kind of a mindset thing. It's, you only get one life, at least that's what I believe. Make the most of it, even if it's hard. Sometimes I tell my clients, just out of this list of 5 things that I'm giving, if you want to do just one, do this one. And they do it. And they're like, oh yeah, that's so, my dad is my toughest patient. I lived with him for a month to help him with some really extreme health issues. And within a month, he was taking half of the amount of insulin, sleeping twice as long at night, going to the bathroom every day, walking blocks and blocks and blocks, where before he could only walk 5 feet without being in pain and out of breath. And, now he's 72 and I can't do it for him forever. And he's back to where he was. And I'm just like, oh, that's so sad to me. He saw the change. He felt amazing. And yet he didn't want it bad enough, I guess. And so that's what I would say. Like, if you want it bad enough, go get it, whatever it is, but especially your health, like your health, you have nothing, or eventually you will have nothing, because if you're just exhausted and depressed and you don't sleep and your life revolves around your stomach, that's miserable. That's no life. And I've been there. I know it sucks.
Yeah. I think I heard or read something about, like, every time you make a choice not to eat healthy, it's like you're saying, I don't love myself right now.
Yeah.
And then if you, to kind of put it in perspective, so I've been kind of trying to do that. Like, of course we're going to make mistakes, and it's a process. But like, if you pick up like a cookie, you're not loving yourself at that moment then.
Right. I love that. Yeah. I have this booklet I give my clients at our first appointment, and on the second page, it says, eat like you love yourself, move like you love yourself, think like you love yourself, act like you love yourself. And I'm like, I know I'm not a therapist, but it's so easy to just mindlessly eat the cookies, or mindlessly eat your whole big thing of pasta. Even if you were full, 15 bites ago, it's really easy to do. It's really easy to do. So, you have to be conscious and there's a saying out there that says, if every bite you take, you're either feeding or fighting disease.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, nobody's perfect. So if you mess up, just get back on the wagon right away. Don't wait till Monday. Monday's 5 days from now. Don't wait till Monday, because it'll be harder by Monday to get back on the wagon. Just, you messed up, who cares? Get back on the wagon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Slow or fast, I don't care. Just
keep plugging away.
Yeah.
Okay, and final question, what do you think humanity needs to work on to make our world a better place?
Oh man. Humanity. Something that I think we've lost, maybe because of social media or because of just how big our world is now. I think we've lost the ability to connect with each other and to not just see like people as numbers, or people as, things to be acquired, things to use. And that makes me really sad. I think people need to remember, everything that we do affects many people. There's a ripple effect, we just need to slow down and not like reevaluate like what's important. And they talk about that, or so many people are talking about that now. We're being forced to do the things that so many people say they want to do when they're super busy and don't have time. And now it's like, well, maybe, hopefully, this will help us reset and reevaluate our priorities. I definitely have. And, life's too short. I think the other thing I would say, this is a good one, boundaries. So many people grow up not learning boundaries. And I think it just makes for really unhappy adults, And so I think even if you didn't learn, if you're my age and you don't, okay, learn now. I think boundaries is huge. So many people just think it's okay to do, whatever they want, and, they don't affect anybody, but just consideration and thoughtfulness.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing about yourself. I really appreciate it.
That was great. That was fun.